now turn to our king of degens, the king himself, Gary Margolis, legendary Southern California gambler, sports bettor, and raconteur. King, I got to give you credit. A month or so ago, you told us that the Eagles and the Cowboys stunk and that the Redskins and Giants were the best teams in the NFC East. It looks like you might have been right.
Wow, yeah, that one I have to admit I got lucky there. Well, hopefully it's going to continue. Yeah, because they each had one win at the time, so I really feel like I pulled one out. I always like to make long shot picks. I'm a contrarian.
You're a contrarian, and with the Redskins and with the Washington football team and the Giants, they certainly have shown to have very good defense.
No doubt, they play hard too. And that was my whole premise: was they just play harder than those two other sissy teams.
Okay, yeah, sissy teams, a current analytical term that is really catching fire across America. On the other hand, you have been just pissing on the Rams again and again and again, and the Rams seem to overachieve according to your expectations.
Right, but if you look at the whole division, it's a little bit of a different thing, I believe. The division itself has been what I thought they were. It's just I got the Rams completely wrong.
Okay, so you thought the division was overrated.
Right, that was my original premise, but the Rams were maybe the worst of the division, and they've turned out to be playing better. It's just the rest of the division has fallen apart. Like the Cardinals, I had the least bad to say about. The 49ers, I knew the injuries was getting to them, but I think the loss of Jimmy G was going to help them. And it's just, they play tough every week. But the Seahawks have gotten worse and worse and worse every week. So the Rams are backing in. I'm telling you, playoff wins in that division are going to be zero.
You've got zero playoff wins coming out of the NFC West, even if they're going to have at least one wild card. Okay, we'll check back with you on that.
They're going to be like in Major League Baseball, the Central divisions. You know how they sent all those teams to the playoffs? And they went like 0-6. That's what they remind me of.
Okay, so they're the Central Division of the NFL,
exactly.
NFC West. All right, let's. Last week, not one of your better weeks. 2-3. You're now 18-13 on the season, which is very respectable. I know you missed badly on. You had Chargers +1. They lost to the Patriots 45-0. I will say this, King, in your defense, it was scoreless almost midway through the first quarter, and it was only 28-0 at the half. I've seen you get out a lot of worse jams than that.
Yeah, that was a miserable pick. Sometimes just momentum
Yeah, momentum swept you out of that game well before halftime. Okay, so why don't we take a look at your picks this week?
Yeah, I had 5 picks, actually 2 college, 1 absolute favorite, and 1 pick 'em. So this is
I don't care if you have junior college games, trade school games, and British football games. Just get to the goddamn picks.
Okay, we'll start with. I got 2 Pac-12 games. First one, the team I bet against last week, Utah. I'm going to bet on them. They get 2.5 against Colorado. I think Colorado's played an easy schedule. I don't think they're that good. Utah's gotten better every week, and they beat Oregon State, who was wounded Oregon State, but we covered on that one, so that was good. But I like Utah, and then I also like that was Utah +2.5, Washington +6 against Oregon. Man, I think Oregon's a terrible team. Last year, in my whole life, I made my biggest bet on Oregon over Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl. I sweated it out with a friend of mine, and when we ended up winning that, and they were actually the underdog, and they actually won the game outright. And that was because of their great defense, their great line, and their great quarterback. But I hated their runners and receivers. Their runners and receivers are no good again this year. They have a transfer from USC, Williams, who's their best receiver, and he's the 7th best receiver on USC. That's why he ended up transferring. So they again have their skill players are way down. And Washington, hey, they get behind 21 points every week. They finally lost to Stanford, but the week before they were down 21 to Utah, came back and rolled them. They almost came back. I think they lost 31-26. Oregon's lost 2 in a row, and they should have lost to UCLA with a first-time freshman. I'm telling you, Oregon is not a good team this year. Washington must win, or the Pac-12 is going to have a 2-team loser in the Pac-team championship who's only played 6 games or less.
Okay, so you seem to be doing pretty well on colleges. I will say this. Do you ever watch a game outside of the Pacific time zone. All the colleges seem to be that you pick seem to be west of the Colorado River.
Yeah, well, I always have lost. I've liked, Iowa State's always even though I went to USC, that's my backup alma mater. But others think, I don't know, I haven't had a good feel for them when I've tried on my own. So I stick with what I see the most. And I do see the Pac-12 games the most.
Okay.
Because of the.
Well, we'll turn to the NFL now, and I'm glad you have introduced another new term into our lexicon, a backup alma mater. Very interesting, King. You're much smarter than you apparently look. What do you got in the NFL?
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with my big favorite. My big favorite is I'm going to lay the 7 on the Saints against the Eagles. And I just think this is a simple game because I'm extremely upset about them benching the quarterback. In fact, I propose a trade. Well, why don't we trade Jared Goff for Carson Wentz? And in fact, even if the Rams have to give a little more, I would do that. And I talked to one NFL insider who completely agrees with me. Jared, Carson Wentz has so much skill. He is not the problem. And Jalen Hurts is not a very good quarterback. But he reminds me of the Saints quarterback right now. So I think it's with even quarterbacks and an incredible defense, best in the NFL, the Saints are just going to roll that team. Okay. Unless they bring in Jameis.
I didn't realize you knew NFL insiders. So NFL insiders generally go to Five Guys and Fatburger?
Yeah, we were actually at In-N-Out, the real California burger.
Okay. Well, I like your trade proposal, Goff for Wentz, two guys who might do better in new locations. So that's a good one. You'll take the Saints -7, a rare favorite. Exactly. And what else you got?
Okay, and then I got my even game, which it started out. The Bears opened up the Texans opened up as a 2.5-point favorite against the Bears. The Texans are such an interesting team. Every single week, I want to bet on them because I know their record is not who they are. That opposite of Mr. Parcells, because they are a pretty darn good football team. They've been playing good lately, but you never get a really good deal on them. Well, all of a sudden, the Bears fans decide to bet the Bears. And I looked at the weather, and I don't even think it's going to be the rain is supposed to stop on Saturday, and it's supposed to be clear, but like 30 degrees. The days before, a little bit warmer with rain. So I have a feeling it'll be an okay field as long as Deshaun doesn't get too crazed there. I just think the Texans are great because Deshaun is outplaying everybody. I even think he's outplaying Mahomes right now. He is just a fantastic quarterback. And to get even on that game, started at 2.5. It's a pseudo bathroom game because it's not quite. It hasn't gone to plus, but you never know. It might go to -1. I'm still like it at -1.
Okay, so you're taking the Texans. I'm actually going the other way, and I'm actually surprised you looked at the weather, King. I usually thought you only look at it on your way to the racetrack, but that's good to see that you're actually looking that far ahead. And what's your final pick today?
My final pick is another thing. See, I'm going to take the Dolphins +7 against the Chiefs. Look back at the Chiefs are the only team that avoids scrutiny. The Steelers lose to the Redskins. I get it. Things happen. But the Chiefs have played 4 bad games in a row. They've barely won 4 straight games. They've won by 6-4, 3, and 2, or something like that. It's incredible. And now they're playing the best team of all that they played. Well, the Buccaneers were tough, and so were the Raiders are reasonably tough. But I think the Dolphins are a very, very tough team, really tough on defense. And they're gonna stop the Chiefs a couple times. Their running back situation's a little down right now because Hilaire has been kind of sick and stuff, and they've been splitting it up a bunch.
Okay, so I do believe
7 points with the Dolphins.
Okay, I do believe the Chiefs just
that good of a team.
I do believe the Chiefs just turn it on when they need it, as we've seen them do, and that might not always work. You do that sometimes during the day, King. You just turn it on at work when you just kind of lay around for 3-4 hours, and then bang, 15 strong minutes. Let me go over your picks: Utah +2.5. Washington in college +6, and then the NFL Saints -7. You're taking the Texans even, and the Dolphins +7. Hey, always a pleasure to have my man Gary Margolis here, but sometimes they prefer calling you the King. And I'm sorry again, why do they call you the King?
I am the King.
Okay, I guess you are. Thank you, Gary. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Norman.